Hi guys, welcome to my channel, Lighting Your Sunshine, where we like to shine a light within and empower ourselves. So I kind of already pulled cards. I tried to start the video, but it didn't work out. So let's start over again. And I'll just show you first what we're going to use. We're going to use the Divine Feminine Oracle cards, and we're going to use Dragon Oracle cards. And then halfway through the reading, what I really wanted was, I wanted to use these ones, but I actually had the cards I had some cards pulled out of this already, and it was like kind of being used for something else and like reflection. But as this reading went on, I realized that these cards were meant to be used as well. How did it go? I'll just show you what we got first. So the very first card I pulled out was Sekhmet with the red lady. And so she's an Egyptian goddess, daughter of the sun. She likes to hang out right there. But anyway, it says, the red lady. I am pure strength. I honor my anger by giving voice to it. Then the next one to come out, as that one said, I'm the red lady. I couldn't help but notice all these like red ribbons. And it's Dakini, the enlightened feminine. My gut instinct is wise beyond reason. I trust my intuition to guide me. And now, I didn't say that red ribbon in the first reading, but I understand that that's going to tie into these next set of cards. Then the last one, and I probably will say it wrong, but it's like Thekla? I was trying to say someone's middle name yesterday, and she just burst out laughing like, what did you just say? Because man, did I butcher it, but it was funny. And this one says, prophetess of true power. I call my power back from all times, all places. I am my own. And so I call all my power back. That's actually what I was using these decks of cards for. So for me, my guides were telling me to pay attention to my dreams. Like, what is that repetitive thing? And it's so funny because I just woke up for a nap, and that's why I'm like, I almost feel like I'm that commercial from back in the day. It's like dry eyes, itchy, like monotone kind of sounding. But I literally just woke up from a nap. And so this is making sense because my guides kept talking to me about my dreams. They're like, pay attention to your dreams and like the people who are coming into it. Because I kept feeling an energetic leak and I didn't know where it was going to. I would always be like, before I go to bed, kind of do like my prayer and protection kind of thing. Like go over and like send love to all my favorite people. And then ask to be like protected while I'm sleeping so that nothing can kind of come and affect my energy. But my guides were like, pay attention to who's coming into your dreams. And for the longest time, I couldn't remember my dreams. And now I can. Now they're like very vivid. But there was this same person who kind of would show up in my dreams and always be like, what the hell are you doing here, kind of thing. And I think about it now, I'm like, yeah, that person, like, there's no connection, no tie, no nothing. Like, why are they there? And my guys were like, that's the person that's like pulling on your energy and it's kind of like leaking out. So I had to like kind of go back a little bit and be like, why is there even access to this person? And it came to like a belief when I was younger. And I had to like go back and like rewire that belief. So that's what this stack's going to be kind of talking about. And it was so perfectly... Should I just share them now? Actually, I don't even know. It's been a couple days. Like, I've really been like reflecting on this and like cutting cords and fixing that problem. So I don't even remember what actually was on here. Oh, are these upside down? Yeah. So the first one to come out was renewal, but it was in reverse. So this is something that needs to end. My guides were like very, very adamant on it. They're like, this can't happen because in this lifetime, everyone has free will and this person didn't choose that, so they don't get access to your energy. And they might think that your energy is theirs or that they're entitled to it, but by you pulling your energy away, they're going to realize just who they are. And so, yeah, that's why it's in reverse. Like, we can't continue this because it's not fair for someone to, in a sense, it's stealing. It's taking advantage of someone else's energy and using it for their own. And I didn't even understand that I was so open and giving of it, because I was like, it's okay, right? You get your energy from source, and it's energy is renewable, right? You fill yourself up, and the overflow you give to everyone else. And so my guides were like, could you imagine if you had actually sealed up that plug, filled up your cup, how much more you could share to those who are actually in your life and like deserving of it, because it's not an equal exchange in this situation. So the next one comes with singer. It says resonance, moving hearts, harmony, emotion, and performance. We have friend with keeper of trust, companion, support, sharing, and joy. And this was kind of someone that I thought was a friend or always wanted to be a friend. And as this kind of says, like emotion and heart, like that's just what you do, right? When you have friends, you have family, you have those that are your support system, like you sing from the treetops pretty much. And then we have civil servant, but it was in reverse. And it was guardian of public good, public official, administrative duty, and public administration. And my guides were like, no, like this is not someone who has well-being for you. In fact, as it said, like administrative duty, they were like, there's someone taking and almost like stealing. So the next one to come out was release. The end of a phase or situation, spiritual transformation, time to move on. So in this situation, it kind of happened with a friendship. You thought you were friends, right? Keeper of trust, companion, support, and sharing joy. And the whole thing with that is sharing. If you're giving and you're not getting back, Spirit doesn't really like that. Especially for, honestly, this has been so long, I didn't even realize that I had opened that and I never closed it off. And so to go to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing, it just always kept growing. And it was just a lot more exhaustion, and things were a little bit harder than it ever had to be. So then we have focus, illumination, and taking risks. So the focus was for me, and that all the snowiness was kind of like the dreams. It was like fine-tuning into the dream to actually have that illumination and seeing things. And I find that so hard, especially when it comes to like controlling your dreams, right? Especially what's that called? Lucid dreaming, where you understand that you're dreaming in a dream. So then you can kind of like control and take charge of it. And that was it. A lot of the time you just like wake up and then all of a sudden that dream's gone, and we're so focused on the 3D. We're like, all right, let's go. And we don't take time to process that. So they wanted to really like slow things down. And in order to slow things down, I had to do a lot in the 3D. And by taking charge of my own life in the 3D, it brought more peace at nighttime so that I could actually see things. I'm seeing like the lake. And today, the reading that's going out today was like still waters run deep. And so that's what I kind of like feel is like, here's that subconscious and going below. So for me, I always thought, if you go in meditation, you go in below that way. But my guides wanted to do it through dream work. And then the whole taking risks is like you cutting cords, you going off on your own, you going on your own adventure, you taking all that extra energy that is yours and bringing it back to go off and do what you want. Go do the fun things, the risks, because for me, because that was kind of leaking out, I was tired a lot of time. It's funny. I was tired because it was being taken, but then another part was like needed to slow down and actually have naps just so that you could actually figure out the thing that was going on. So in one case, it's like helpful. And in the other case, it was draining and making you tired. So it was like that fine balancing. So we'll deal with those later, but let's go back to these ones. Because here we have a lot of powerful women. We have a lot of fire energy coming through, and how fitting is that? Because Sekhmet, she is the daughter of the sun. So there's the sun. The sun is just a big ball of fire. Over here, she's holding a big ball of energy. It's not fire, but, oh yeah, that red cord. I want to go back to that. And then over here, she's literally got fire above her head. And we've got the lion, and Sekhmet is the lioness goddess. But that red cord, I do want to read on her. It says, my gut instinct is wise beyond reason. I trust my intuition to guide me. Especially when it comes to the subconscious and the depths. And then we have 3 more cards that I haven't even really looked at, but maybe I'll show you before I read this. No, because it's not even time for that yet, they said. So D, how does this go? Yeah. Who is she? I don't know if it's Thekla, Thelkla. Anyways, represents the ability to call back all our power. It didn't even say that on the card. Oh no, that one. I'm looking at the wrong one. Nope, it does say it on the card. I was looking at the wrong one. Call back all our power. The acts of Paul and Thekla date back to the 2nd century through some scholars believe is Greek composition, could be as early as 70 CE. It relates to young woman's call to a life of teaching and healing in the Christ movement in Asia Minor, current-day Turkey. Oh, people were just talking about Turkey the other day. Thekla, the daughter of Theoclesia? Whatever. It's not important. It is important. Names are important, but not in this second. It's not going to make or break the reading. At age 17, she overhears Paul teaching about Christ. She stays rooted in place at her window for 3 days so she won't miss a word. Her mother had arranged for her to be married. So when Thekla feels called to begin her own ministry, she is sentenced to burn for refusing to be a bride. So the red ribbon, so in Chinese proverb, they have this thing about like soulmates that are entangled so that it can always be twisted and like, you know, you can go off and do whatever you want pretty much. But those who are meant to always find their way back together will always find their way back together. And yeah. Especially like with this wanting to be a bride. And there's this taking risk card. And that's kind of what I see is like someone, you know, we build up these stories in our head that, I don't know, what am I trying to say? A lot of people get really tripped up on things like twin flame journeys. And if somebody treats you so poorly, I don't understand why someone would hold out to an energy like that. Like, oh, but they're my soulmate. I let them treat me like crap because they're my soulmate. That doesn't make sense to me. It should be that equal reciprocity. But I digress. Getting married. She doesn't want to get married. She doesn't want to be a bride. She wants to do what she wants to do. Just as the flames are surrounding her, though, she makes the sign of the cross and a huge storm puts the fire out. She finds Paul, cuts her hair short, and tells him, "Only give me the seal of Christ and no trial will touch me." He suggests that she isn't ready for baptism yet. Shortly after, a president of the Council of Syria tries to take Thekla into the streets to be his bride. She tears off his cloak and takes the crown from his head and publicly shames him for trying to take her without consent. She is then sentenced to death by wild beasts. In the arena, all the women protest judgment of Thekla, proclaiming her innocence. A huge lioness enters the arena, approaches Thecla, and then licks her feet and bows before her. Thecla enters the pool in the arena that is filled with wild sea lions. The women fear she will be killed, but she declares, in the name of Jesus Christ, I baptize myself, and suddenly she is shielded and protected by a great ring of fire, and a glowing white robe suddenly appears on her body. Paul tells her, Go and teach the word of God. It is recorded in the Acts of Paul and Thecla that she lived until 90 and enlightened many. Her ministry proves the existence of female authority in the Christian church. So even in the video, oh, I'm so cold. In the video that's coming out today, it kind of talked about the Last Supper and things like that. And I watched, a breakdown of like art history and theory and things like that. And a lot of it has to do with like, is that Mary Magdalene or is that, I can't remember. See, I'm not a religious person, but I want to say Paul. That was right beside him, the right-hand man. But what I mostly got from reading that was the lioness. And the lioness is Sekhmet. And it says, I am pure strength. I honor anger by giving voice to it. And so Sekhmet's story, she has lots of stories. But she is a very healing goddess. But she also is very fierce. She's like a war god. And I don't know if the reading about the string the string. And I kept talking about this red string. And in this one, especially when I kept, like, my dreams kept being like, pay attention to who keeps coming in your dream. To me, it was someone that I always thought was a friend of the past. But things grow, people change. And I didn't realize that I had let that door kind of energetically open. And you know what? Instantly, once I realized who it was, and I was like, oh, we're not friends anymore. And that's when I felt it kind of being drained. It was instantly undone. So a lot of this could be like twin flame or soulmate energy. But that's what I kind of see as like someone being really allowing someone to mistreat them because, oh, they're on their own healing journey. They're off on their own thing, doing their thing. But I don't know. I'm just getting really tripped up on that. Why would, even if you are a soulmate of the highest high and you have this red string, I feel like that has taken someone and almost wrapped them up in a cocoon where they can't bust out and go take this risk. They're not getting to live life because in their head, they have this idea that this is how it was supposed to be and it wasn't unfolding that way. And so it's like waiting for whatever that intuition kind of was. So now it's kind of bringing it back to this. My gut instinct is wise beyond reason. I trust my intuition to guide me. I don't know what your intuition's telling you, but my guides would say they would never guide you to stay meek or less than. So now as I said that, I kind of got drawn to the dragon ones because all of these are fire goddesses. And this one cord or belief or whatever keeps you tied to this person who's not filling up your cup. If anything, they just take and take and take and take. And they would rather see you depleted, right? They would almost like take all resources and leave you in the desert, is what I kind of see. But what do we have over here? We have the Emerald Dragon, brings in healing and cosmic abundance. It says, good fortune is coming. Let your thoughts support your divine perfection. Align with your fifth dimensional blueprint. So in this case, like everyone was like, well, this person's just supposed to be a wife. And a lot of this kind of energy coming up is almost like fairy tales. And you know, when you're younger and you watch like love stories and that's what you think love is. And then kind of growing up and not having that story, because that's not reality, right? That's all scripted and fake. It's fake. And you don't want a fake love. And spirit doesn't want you to have a fake love. They want you to be the best version of you. And where is that best version? It's on the 5D kind of thing, as it said in this blueprint. In this blueprint, there's this unfolding. They want you to continue grow and not stay stunted. And for most, I feel like whatever this, if you have, just a second. I was like, yeah, because you told me about my dream, and this is a little bit of like something I worked through. And I was like, is this applied to the viewer in this story? And always use your own discernment. But as my guide said, everybody has a little bit of like energetic ties to someone somehow, even if it's just something like very nostalgic from your childhood, or right, and we might not know. And the more and more we keep thinking of that person, actually, I wasn't thinking of that person ever. They were thinking of me. And every time I would feel their energy come along, I'd be like, oh, whatever, and ignore it. But by not dealing with it properly, sewing up that door, right, shutting that door, I could always feel, I don't know what it was. And I don't know what it is for you. And that's maybe why they're not, you can't explain that part to them, because everyone's story is different. Everyone has someone else. To some, it's a friend. To some, it's a twin flame love relationship that they're thinking about. Some, it's a parent. I heard it's a parent, not as like a mother-father figure, but they know. And yeah, whatever it is, everybody kind of always has like that one person who has that soft spot in their heart, right? That one that kind of makes your heart sing. That soft spot is that moving hearts, that harmony, invokes emotion. And then at some point you grow apart because you have different plans, right? In the 5D, it talked about the blueprints. And we want you to continue to unfold in your way. So maybe other people have plans for you, but maybe those plans aren't for you. As this one said, she wanted to be, oh, come on, fingers. I miss my nails. There we go. As this one, right? It said the enlightened feminine. I want to be more than just a pretty face, right? I want to glow. My gut instinct is wise beyond reason. And that's spirit being like, hey, before you came here, you kind of wrote down everything that you wanted to do as a soul and open up and grow. So when you keep putting yourself in this tiny box and you don't go do what your soul kind of wants, you start to get uncomfortable. And the more and more you get uncomfortable, the more and more I almost feel like everything's going to burn down. The more and more this anger happens. And that's where Sekhmet is. That's where she kind of thrives in transmuting that energy. How can we take this thing? Because the more and more you're trapped, and it's almost like growing. You're going to grow and it's going to become it's growing pains. So uncomfortable in your own body. I honor my anger by giving voice to it. I am pure strength. And eventually you're going to like bust out. And underneath the Sekhmet one is that one. And when I look at that one just gives me Wizard of Oz vibes, right? The Emerald City. Those don't look like poppies, but it says good fortune's coming. Let your thoughts support your divine perfection. Align with your 5th dimensional blueprint. Brings in healing and cosmic abundance. So eventually, and that's where I see, well, I get Alice in Wonderland and Wizard of Oz mixed up all the time. What I really saw was Alice in Wonderland when she grows and grows and grows, and then she like pops out of the house And then, right, she has to find that one to kind of shrink her down. But Spirit doesn't want you to shrink down, right? That is who you are. You've outgrown this shell, and this shell is now time to move on to the next one. But there's so much fire in here. I don't see the water. The water comes over here with the illumination, but that's more in the dream time. In the everyday, you're meant to be out there feisty and fiery. So when you outgrow your situation, you move on to the next one, right? You find a bigger shell. Something to do more with fire. Oh yeah, Sekhmet. She's very destructive. She's like a war goddess, but she's also the healing goddess as well. It's like this duality of this yin and yang. And look over here in this renewal. That was upside down. The waters have stopped. There's something to do with this uncomfortable. And the more and more you keep trying to shove yourself in this little box, like, oh, you're just supposed to be just, especially back in the day, right? You were just a wife, a bride, and an item, an ownership kind of thing. But in this one, it's like I really wanted to be the divine feminine. I wanted to step into my power and learn about healing. But back in the day, oh, both of them do. Oh man, I gotta stop putting them down because I can't pick them up. She's holding light, and then over here, she's got the touch as well. Healing seems to be the path that this soul wanted to take, and it's risky. Out of all these ones, when it came to like the dreams and the depths and everything, we've got snow, we've got water, but it's that fire, it's that passion, that's going to take you to the next level. So with that, we have sunshine. So sunshine yellow dragon helps you to help animals. Serve animals, heal, respect, and understand them. So I'm hearing an Ellie Goulding song. Close to me. And I'm hearing, I don't remember the words, but when they play it to me, I hear the part where it's like, even though we both think we're liars and we set each other's fires, close to me. That's what they're saying. I don't think those are the lyrics, but they keep saying it over and over and over. So there's something to do with you. There's a lie. There's a lie when it comes to this cord or this leaking, this something where it was like a friend, a friend that had your heart. But it's not a friend because they're not there to serve. They're there to take. And in order for it to take, it's going to deplete you. And so there is a need to release. And by doing so, it's so scary to like go off on your own, especially like back in the day, like women, it was harder for them to make it on their own, right? It was almost like, again, I'm seeing it as like a bargaining chip or something. But guess what? You can do anything. This is like a totally different time. And you had this divine plan all along to step into this role as a healer. And I see in the other way, it was superficial. I don't know, or else you wouldn't have your soul's not being guided that way. And spirit doesn't want you to give energy that way. And for some, you aren't. You are in your own lane, doing your own thing, lighting your own sunshine. But somebody feels a little bit entitled to that energy. Just because, I don't know, especially with friendship and like loyalty. I feel like that's something that was in the past, but all of a sudden you shift focus because they weren't loyal to you. I feel like in this energy leak, they're just loyal to your energy. They feel deserving of it, but nobody's deserving of your time or energy. You get to go where you want and share your energy with who you want and love who you want. And you have the ability to love the whole world. And you can love that person still, but that person needs to learn how to go and fill up their own cup instead of just taking from you to make them happy, so that they can come back and share the overflow with you. I feel like that's the only case, and there's a lot of soul work. Like, in order to do that, they need to go within, figure out what that anger is with Sekhmet, learn the healing journey, tap into their enlightenment, and then turn into the prophetess or priest of their own true power and realize I'm an unlimited, awesome being, but it's not meant to be taken advantage of. There are those who do need help, and that is nature, the animals, those who don't have that voice. They speak, but they don't speak the same way we do. We can advocate for them. And then we can also advocate for just those who don't seem to have that voice yet. Because a lot of these stories I keep talking about, and like back in the day, like in this one, it talked about what, 70 before Christ time? No, after CE. And sorry, I feel like there's just one hair that's bugging me. And that's what I kept talking about. Like, I kept talking about, like, it was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago. But in some places still, it kind of is that way still. And I can't pretend to understand that yet. But I do know that Spirit brings the right person to you at the right time. And so I let Spirit guide me where I need to go. And then I let them guide people who need to come to me. But when it comes to like loyalty, I feel like the only thing that you really can be loyal to is your heart and your connection to Source. And they'll always guide you to the perfect spot at the perfect time. But sometimes you build these like allegiances and loyalty in your youth, and those people don't have good intentions for you. As my guide said, I was like, I'm just tired these days. And they're like, pay attention to your dreams. We'll show you where the leak is. Because I would go into meditation and I would do all these things. And as I said, I'd never even thought about this person, ever. I was like, no, like it just wasn't a blip. But they kept popping up into my dreams. And it took me a while and a little bit of self-discipline and healing to actually start to remember my dreams. So the last card we have here was in reverse. And look, there's music there. And there's a singer over here. And this is in reverse, because this was like someone who made your heart sing. It brought out harmony and emotions. It was an emotional performance, I heard. They were very good actors, but they weren't a good singer. So Dusty Pink Dragon from Andromeda prepares all your chakras to embody higher love. Accept and radiate higher love. Touch others with its flame. Ooh, getting chills. So in this one, it seemed to be like an actor pretending to be a singer, and maybe at one point it was real and authentic, but it just seemed short-lived. And in this story, that person, okay, so you're just like a walking big ball of love. And I'm getting a lot of feminine energy in this reading. And the feminine is all about like loving and nurturing and those kind of things. And people do take advantage of that. I feel like loyalty, they just assume that you're going to be loyal and that you're always going just to like fill up their cup, as it said. But they weren't giving back. They were kind of going off on their own fiery adventure and still coming to take. Maybe it's like they would always go off on their thing and always come to you with their problems, or, you know, just whatever it was, it seemed to hurt you over and over and over again. So Spirit was like, enough, like this isn't your friend, and they guided you to move away. And in doing so, you had to step into your fiery energy, because they seem to be a little bit in that fire energy in a different way. So it was talking about the 5D blueprint and all those kind of things. That's like that source fire, the sun. Whereas the other one seemed to be like, I don't know which words to use. Maybe like lust or impulse, kind of that kind of energy. So this one said, and if you're accepting less than from people, as this one, prepares all your chakras to embody a higher love. If you're accepting just the bottom of someone's shoe, getting kicked down all the time, coming and depleting you and making you tired, you can't get that higher love because you don't have your cup full. It seems to be drained. And Spirit's like, we don't want to renew this because this isn't, as it says, review and evaluate a favorable assessment of all the facts. It wasn't a favorable assessment, so it's time to move in a new direction. And the next one to come out was release. The end of a phase or situation, a spiritual transformation, time to move on. So as this one said, time to move in a new direction, time to move on. And the funny thing is I feel like a lot of it, so much time has passed that for some people in this, they don't even understand that energetically they're still a little bit always going back to that moment. So I see rest being really important in this time. Not to go out and deplete yourself, but in rest, I almost see that illumination coming, that aha, and understanding why everything was, what you can do to take the steps, and pay attention when you're in your calm, right? Before this, I kind of had a nap. You know, when you wake up and there's literally nothing bombarding you, what is Spirit bringing to your attention? It could be a thought or a memory from the past. It could be whatever. It could be a million different things. And what I thought was interesting in this is I feel like one person is draining that cup. But this one says, accept and radiate higher love. Touch others with its flame. As this one talked about, heal, respect, and understand them. It's time to help animals and serve them. And then that flame. One person is taking, so you can't go out and help so many. You're meant to have like, what are you meant to have? Well, based on whatever it is that your soul kind of planned here. And so if you've reached that glass ceiling, I see you busting through it. I see you reaching higher, and when that flame comes, it's a different fire than like the basic 3D one, right? Caveman got fired because it was safety and survival and necessity. And then nowadays we kind of have like passion. Some of it's a bit lusty, some of it's whatever. And then the fire that I'm talking about is that one that's even like higher consciousness. It's there. I will slide it, right? Usually they have like a halo because it's of enlightenment, right? This one has that around her. This one's on fire. I feel like that's that Spirit coming in with this new fire, this new energies. That's really sunshine. And with that, you're able to transmute so many other energies. I feel like there are those that you are meant to help, and you know what? They might not have much to give back, but on a soul level, in alignment, by you helping them, they're going to go out and help 10 more people. And then those 10 people will help 10 people. And so in that way, it will come around back to you. But in this other way, they're just taking it and wasting it and like throwing that cup out and laughing and whatever. It's just not cool. And Spirit ain't down with that. So there's something to do. Oh yeah. And this one, it's holding a little cricket. This one has a consciousness. Jiminy Cricket. And it's that little inner calling. I do feel like you have a beautiful heart, and you can be very easily to see the good in someone, but they're saying, let them show you the true colors. And we don't want you to deplete your resources by being loyal to those who don't fill up your cup. It's time for you to learn to receive and understand where Spirit's guiding you. At one point, I feel like this could have been good. And I think that's it, is to realize that switch in that moment when to detach. Okay, our time here is done, right? Time to move on. Time to move in a new direction. And I feel like a lot of people in this story did, but just to actually understand that when you close that kind of door, not to have those energetic attachments still, because even you've tried to move on, and I see someone trying to move on and go do their fun things and take these risks, and they have all these plans and these dreams, but it's just so much harder. They wake up tired all the time and all these things. And so cutting those cords, releasing, moving forward. This little cricket consciousness / spirit, Sekhmet, whoever you work with. And they want you to know that you're loved, even though you don't feel love from that person. But I see nature and animals, and especially lions in this reading. I see power coming back to you. And I think that's what I see. The light in the eyes kind of dimming. You see, before was like very feisty and had a spark, and you still have this. And it's funny because as you can connect to source, and it's renewable, right? You fill up your own cup, but not even realizing that so much has been taken or depleted. And so can you imagine if you actually clean up that leak, put a plug in it, boom, it's almost too much. And that's awesome, because that too much is that overflow that you get to share again. I feel like there hasn't been much overflow before. It's just been enough to maintain yourself. And so now you can actually go out and love the higher love, and not just love those who see you as an opportunity to take advantage of your energy. It's time to go out there, take risks, but maybe before that, if you are in that state, rest. It's so hard because we want to go out, we want to force things, and you've got plans and you've got dreams and you've got goals, but we are in the winter months. We are in this need to focus, and that focus is in on yourself and keeping things alive and warm, lighting that fire, lighting that sunshine. And at one time, you're going to get comfortable in that healing phase. And that's kind of when Spirit's like, all right, here's your intuition. Here's where we're guiding you to now. But you'll have the energy to do it, and it will be easier because it will be divinely guided and it will be reciprocated. So with that, we'll leave it there. I hope you have a good day, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.